Okay, I'm just going to phone Scotty T's wife on here and get her to bring Scott up for the surprise. And here we go. There he is, boy. Our champion. Well done, Scotty T. Well done, big son. Well done, mate. There he is. 300 World Superbike champion. Well done, Scott. Well, my name's Mark Simpson. I live in Cloughy here, and live in the hometown of Scott Thompson. Scott works at probably most people around this area know him in Watson's hardware shop. The reason why we're interviewing this here for wee Scott started motorcycle racing with me in 125 Irish Superbikes way back in the day, and Scott has worked himself through the years to World Superbikes. But I'm going to just do this wee interview with Ivan here to let you know how it all came about. So Scott, you started off in the 125 Aprilia class.
Yeah, indeed.
So what year was that? Can you remember we started it?
2006, I think.
2006.
Yeah, started there and then sort of progressed there from that to 600, flicked back to 650s for a couple of years, and then I finished actually racing in 2011 after winning the Irish Pre-Injection Cup.
That's right,
which finished me actually racing, competing.
Uh-huh.
And then I had a break.
Went to Australia?
I went to Australia for a career break.
That's right, never forget it.
And then just to come up to today, came home from that in 2016, worked for Martree, who was a British Superbike team and a road racing team.
Yeah.
Where there I met Dan Neal. The year after then, we'd built a bike ourselves and footed about and went to TT and finished third in the stock race there.
That's right, yeah.
And then 18 with Tyco, which was Taz Racing. Sadly, Dan passed away at the TT that year. And then I done a wee bit in the British. The following year I done another little bit in the British, but I had no heart in it.
Yeah.
So I sort of stepped away from it. And then I got a random phone call from a wee band from Cork saying that he was interested in going to the Worlds, and sort of noticed that I'd come out of the paddock.
What was his name, Scott?
Paul Tobin.
Paul Tobin, that's him.
Paul Tobin run Team 109.
Team 109.
And I said no initially, and then I thought about it and says, well, the World thing's a completely different challenge. And yeah, basically from there, that was in 2020, was our first season out there with Kawasaki.
Yeah.
So we done 4 years with Kawasaki, and had wins in the class in the World Series.
Yeah.
We had a lot of learning to do as well as a team, and I had a lot of learning to do as well myself.
Yeah.
Like. And then we got to the end of last year, and he rung me and says, we're going Chinese bikes, which I thought was a joke.
Yeah.
And here we are, a year with the Chinese bikes, and we won the World Championship.
Yeah, so to let viewers know, in motorcycle racing, you start off, here we have Irish Superbikes, which is a great class. So you work your way through. So you started off at Irish Superbikes, and your next step would probably have been BSB, which is British Superbikes, which is a big concern to get there. So then, if you go from BSB, then your next challenge would be to try to get into World Superbike, and the next one after that is MotoGP, where that's just the Marquez's and Valentino Rossi. But Scott is in World Superbikes now, which is just the class below it, which is a big thing in motorcycle racing. So Scott, you joined the Kovi team, Team 109 and the Kovi motorcycle.
Yeah.
So last year you had a rider riding for you, and he was what would you call him?
Daniel
Magida.
Yeah.
And he done.
He did very well. He gave us our first wins in Aston. We done the double actually that weekend, and then things change and riders come and go and what have you. But the biggest thing for us as a team change was the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because we had sort of topped out with the material we had, what we could do, and then the Paul thought that this challenge we could take it a bit further, like, and that's.
Yeah. So this year then, this was a big year for you.
Very big. Yeah.
You took on Bagnat Fernandez, 17-year-old, this young fella, who's a Spanish rider, who Scott took him on this year, and he's been
it's been brilliant. Like.
Brilliant.
We done the first test as a team with the Kovi the bikes. We met with the factory team and done testing, and we brought this 17-year-old with us because we had to bring at that stage two riders, and instantly he was quick, and he was quicker than the factory riders at 17. On a track he'd never been on. The fog was that bad at the track, you could only see one corner from the next. You couldn't even see him once he left pit lane.
Yeah.
And his lap times were just slightly quicker than the factory guys, and it was a easy choice, to go into this new project with him.
Right.
And then from the off, our very first race in Portugal, we finished third and won the second race, and that just started the ball rolling for the whole year. Like, it just kept everything pushing forward, and he's a fantastic rider, very gifted rider, naturally gifted rider. And at 17, he probably has a 30-year-old head on him.
He's very smart.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah. So we've got to the end of the season. The last race was in Jerez. That was this weekend. Last week, through to the weekend. So myself and my next door neighbour, Colin Moore, decided to go across. But we were also supporting Jonathan Ray, who's a world superbike racer, and I do believe he's a pretty well known rider throughout Northern Ireland. But also there is another, the rider who won the World Superbike Championship this year was Toprak, and his team manager is also from Northern Ireland, and his name is Phil Moran. And to be honest, him and Scott sort of look alike. But anyway, it all came down to the last race this weekend at Jerez, and me and Colin went across to support Scott and the team, and we had a brilliant weekend. But it was all down to the last race for young Fernandez to win the championship. Reason why we're doing this wee video. So Scott, sure, you could sort of tell us through what all had happened
on the last weekend.
The last weekend.
Well, the last weekend we arrived with leading the championship by very little points. Now we could have won it in the first race. The way things happened, with all our riders falling back and what have you, we had the chance of winning it. But there was an incident on the last lap where two riders came together and we fell out of the points. And we eventually got 1 point because he did come through a bit in the last lap and get 1 point. But the whole championship came down to the very last race. So 16 races of Europe, and it all came down to the very last race between three riders. And the basics of it was whoever beat each other didn't really particularly what position they finished in, but they had to beat each other to win the World Championship. And it came right down to the very last corner and the drag to the start line, or finish line.
And you just won it by?
Won it by 900 of a second.
900 of a second.
It's about the width of that cup.
Yeah. So this is another thing why we're interviewing Scott, to let you know what Scott actually does. So Scott is the crew chief for Team 109. Now, he's not so much as a mechanic, but he does all the setting up of the bike. There's a lot of work goes into what Scott does. Could you sort of tell us exactly what your involvement is at Scott?
Well, when we arrive to a racetrack, we've got a practice session, a qualifying session, 2 races, and then 2 warm-ups before the race. So that gives us a chance to change the bike about, to try and get the best out of the bike, working with the rider where he needs a wee bit of help, where we think he can help us a bit, to get the best lap time basically, and looking for the best setup for the bike. So practice on a Friday, we go out with a sort of base setting as such, and we go out and do maybe 8 to 10 laps. We come in again, and then I download all the information out of the bike, which gives me suspension travel, throttle positions, brake pressures. It gives me basically a datalised version of what the bike's doing on track. So I can analyse that and see whether the bike can be improved in this corner, that corner, can be helped into the braking zone, and then also with the rider's input, if he's any issues anywhere, you can look into that area exactly, and then make a decision whether to change something there. Because sometimes a change there to help that can make it worse somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a balancing act over the whole lap. So we get the chance then to change. You could be changing springs, suspension, changing the geometry of the bike, changing the clutch to help him or improve his braking. And even as simple as tyre pressures down to that can make a change on what the data gives you. And then you go out your next session, hopefully with an improvement. If you haven't improved, you go back to the drawing board again and start again. But generally speaking, you start on Friday, you keep making little improvements until you get to the race, and that's you giving your sort of your best work out onto the grid line. Now sometimes you say you have to. There's certain tracks that you have sort of bad areas of the track and good areas, and you have to balance that up with, it's going to be perfect here. You're going to have really strong bike here, but to get it strong there, it's going to be weak up here.
Yeah.
So you sort of balance that out as to where in the race where you want to finish, basically, where you want the strongest bike.
There you go. Unbelievable. There's a lot of involvement in it then, Scott, isn't there too? To get it right.
There's a lot into it. There's a lot of variables can change.
Yeah.
1 millimeter can change how the bike feels completely.
Yeah. And then you give all that information to your mechanic, so you've a good understanding with the team, so you can tell your mechanic and your whatever.
So from that data, I'll have a bike setup sheet where the bike's at, and then if I want to make any changes, I can you visualize it first. So if I change this, it's going to make the bike better here. It's going to move them figures here and there.
Yeah.
And then I give the mechanics a sheet then, and they turn the bike into
They can turn
the bike into whatever settings we need to put into it.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It's different. It's a very
not easy, mate.
It's changed times, like from a spanner and jets and a carburetor.
I think it is indeed. He's won the championship, and I have to say, everybody in Cloughy and anybody that all knows you, we're all so very proud of you, mate. It's a fantastic achievement, and I'd just like to say congratulations on behalf of all your friends, family. We're all so proud of you. So well done, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant, mate.
Thank you.
Good luck for next year. So I'm now with Scott and Anne. Anne and Scott are married 2.5 years.
Yep, 2.5 years.
So tell me this: what's it like living with Scott, who is always he's away a lot with World Superbike? So how do you sort of work things around?
I need to have a lot of patience. I've learned to have a lot of patience, so I have since I started going with Scott. But you get used to it, so you do. And at the start, I never really understood exactly what it was he did. I thought he was going away for a lad's holiday for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So I did, but actually then I started to go out. So I went out first time 4 years ago, and I just really seen how important it was, because I didn't have an understanding about bikes before I met him. Now it's my life just as much as it is his. Now it's every weekend he's away. I have my day scheduled, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that I make sure I don't miss a race, that I know exactly what's happening, where he's at, more so I can say to him, Scott, what happened there, or what's going on, you need to be, you need to be keeping an eye out for X, Y, and Z. But no, I've got used to it now, so I have, and now I sort of think, God, I get peace this weekend, so do. But no, you do get used to it, and I do go out when I can to support him. But myself and his dad, we have this tradition now that after every race or Super Bowl, Hugh Robert will phone me or I will phone him, and we'll just go, that was really good, or what did you think of that? So I have my own thing here now. So I do, in relation to the bikes, that I'm just used to it. It would be weird not being involved.
And does your family now sort of get
very much so. Very much so. My dad would be on the phone. He was on the phone when I was away at the weekend, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning. And Dad went out last year. Again, thought beforehand Daddy would be into other sports, and he thought, oh, he just goes out there and does nothing, and realised just how actually serious it is, how important it is, and really just how elite it is, rather than, you know, in comparison to what you see down, and I'm not taking away from Kirkeston, but it is an elite sport now. It is, and that's what people need to understand. It's not just, oh, he's going away to ride a bike. He's a world champion now, you know, and I couldn't be prouder. So couldn't of him and the team. Without the team, and Paul Tobin, to be fair, Paul Tobin is, I don't know how he does this job, so it doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, they've been very good to Scott over the last 5 years.
A year.
Yeah. So I have to,
So you're tying this all and getting ready for next year again. So what's the plans, sort of?
Funny, we were talking about next year already, and we were saying, right, well, we try and plan what rounds I can get to next year, and I've obviously said it's a step up next year, so I understand that that's going to be, my first question was, right, when are you away again? So that will be before Christmas, and then after Christmas it'll be pretty full on. So I'll try and get him to do as much about the house as possible while he's here. So, but no, I'm used to it now, and yeah, it's part of life. It's part of our life, and it's how we move forward with it. And he knows that he has 100% my backing, and I will support everything that he does, because I'm so proud of what he has achieved, especially this year.
Well, Scott, you've been working at Francis Watson's now for nearly over 15 years, and so you must have a very understanding boss, and Gavin, to give you time off. Is he pretty understanding to work well together that way?
I'm very lucky to have that. A boss like Gavin, because it is quite a bit of time away. It's quite chunks of time away. Sometimes in sort of peak holiday times, like.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I'm very fortunate to have a relationship that I can sort of come and go, like, because if a race date comes up or a race test comes out, you can't change it in a couple of days. That's, you know, there's.
Yeah.
And he is very understanding, let me go to sort of to follow my passion. Like.
Yeah.
And it's actually started with his father Francis.
Yes.
He was one of my first sponsors when I raced.
That's right. Remember that.
So it's from day one. Like, it's the Watsons family in general have backed me.
That's excellent.
Now that's about us, folks, for another Sheep in the Shoestring episode, and we're all proud of Scott as a local man achieving with his team what has been achieved. Amazing altogether. Now we see Scott every week. We're in Watson's as farmers getting tools, hydraulic hose, you name it. And this lawnmower here was bought out of Watson's, and I just have to say that whenever Scott tunes a machine up for you, she can go. And I asked for the special Sheep in the Shoestring tuning for this lawnmower when we got it. Just in passing, Scott Thompson's father is a very accomplished golfer, and it is said that he has more trophies in the cupboard than Rory McIlroy. And he's currently up in Scotland doing a tour with his friend round golf courses up there.